Hey, good morning. Welcome to Unit 7, Lesson 14. Today we're going to be talking about distances on a coordinate plane. Can you make sure you have your notes and a place to focus and take them? Go ahead and set up your notes with the title of this lesson. This is Unit 7, Lesson 14, Distances on a Coordinate Plane. We've been talking this week about the coordinate plane and into last week about the coordinate plane. We have most recently practiced context or like word problems on a coordinate plane, the way that you might use these in real life. Today we're going to talk about distances or how far apart 2 points are on a coordinate plane. We can find out those distances by plotting points and by noticing some parts about their ordered pairs, and that's what I'm hoping to do today. So what I want you to do is take a look at these instructions for question 1 and 2. The instructions are to, number 1, write the coordinates of each point, and number 2, answer these questions for each pair of points, and those are listed here below. So for A and B, answer these 3 questions. For B and D, answer these 3 questions, and for A and D, answer these 3 questions, okay? I want you to, instead of just looking at the screen, I actually want you to be able to look at your own coordinate grid. So within today's Google form, right under the video, if you click this first link for this first activity, you will find, if you click on that, it will open up this coordinate grid. And you can actually label on the coordinate grid the points. So you can use the pen tool to write the ordered pair. I'm not going to give this one away. Or you can use this ABC tool to type it in. If you want to type the ordered pair, this is incorrect, but if you want to type the ordered pair 1, 1, and then you can move it around to show that label. Okay, again, this one's incorrect, so don't do this one. Okay. All right, I'm going to set a timer. Let me get my instructions back up. I've got 3.5 minutes on the clock to complete question 1 and 2, so the ordered pair for all 5 points, as well as answering these questions on your notes. Go ahead and just record the answers on your notes. Okay, 3.5 minutes. Go ahead. So we are about a minute in. You should be wrapping up your labels in about the next 1 minute. So if it's taking you too long to label on the computer, that's okay. You can label it on your paper. About 1 minute left. Go ahead and make sure that you've chosen a pair of points and you're answering questions for those points. Go ahead and finish up your thinking. If you're ready to move on, stay with me and come back to this tab. If you need a little bit of extra time, come back to this tab and pause the video, finish plotting those points or answering those questions, and then hit play on this video. Awesome. Before I show you the answers, I want to show you a common mistake. And this is something that I notice students have been doing in our skill builders and in our independent practices. So I want to talk about this common mistake. So take a look at my work. Check my work for point B and check yours. I've already told you that this was a mistake. So I want you to think about what was the mistake and how do I fix it? What was the mistake and how do I fix it? Awesome. Hopefully you saw that point B was here on the coordinate grid in quadrant 4. Quadrant? Yeah, quadrant 4. When I'm in quadrant 4, or when I'm in any quadrant, I use the x coordinate and the y coordinate to tell about that point's location. That is called an ordered pair. In my example, I have -3, 4. That is in the form x comma y. So the x coordinate should be -3 and the y coordinate is +4. Do you see the mistake? You have to know that the x-axis is the horizontal axis here. And I see that point B is actually on +4 on the horizontal x-axis, not -3. I also see that point B on my vertical y-axis is at -3. So my y coordinate should be -3. The mistake is that I accidentally swapped the order of the x and y coordinate. When I do that, I actually get a totally different location. Go ahead and put your finger on the screen or your mouse on the screen where you think this point actually is, -3, 4. Remember, -3 is on my x-axis and +4 is on my y-axis. Please put your mouse or your finger on that point on the coordinate plane. Awesome, I'm starting at 0. I go -3 to the left on my x-axis, and then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. That point is here. Is that where the point B is? No, this is a common mistake to swap the order. Let's review our correct answers. Correct answers are here: point A, point B, point C, point D, and point E. Please take 30 seconds and make sure you have the correct answers on your paper. Awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about the next question. In the ordered pairs, you'll notice some of the same numbers. Like I see a lot of 4, -4, 3, -3, and -5 as well. These questions really build to our big conjecture today to help us find the distance between 2 points. So let's consider the points A and B. Look at the ordered pairs for A and B. What do you notice is the same, and what do you notice is different? Maybe you notice that the x coordinate or the x value was the same, was that? Yeah, they're both at +4 on the x-axis. That means they are 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right, to the, yeah, of the 0 of the y-axis. Absolutely. And you may have also noticed what's different. That y value is different. A is 3 units above, that's positive 3 on the y-axis, and B is 3 units below, that's negative 3 on the y-axis. Okay. Here's what my answer might look like for this question. And again, answers vary, so I just want you to carefully check yours, okay? So here's what I was thinking. A and B have the same x but opposite y coordinates. That word opposite is a great one to include in your answer because we learned about opposite numbers, remember, are on the opposite sides of 0 but have the same absolute value. 3 and negative 3 are opposites. Both are 4 units to the right of the y-axis, but 3 units above or below the x-axis. A is above, B is below. Please pause the video and make sure you have an explanation that includes all of these points on your paper. Awesome. You could have also talked about B and D and A and D. B and D have the same y value at negative 3, but different x values, again, opposite sides of 0 at positive 4 and negative 4. How far apart are B and D? How far apart are points B and D? There are two strategies that I notice are helpful here. One is you could plot these points on a graph, they're already plotted, and you could count how many boxes apart they are. I could count 1, do you see my mouse? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could also look at the ordered pair, can you see my mouse? For B and D, and notice that they're at the same Y position, but B is 4 units to the right of 0, and D is 4 units to the left. I know that this point D is 4 spaces away from 0, and B is 4 spaces away from 0, and they're on opposite sides. So together, that's 4 plus 4, 8 spaces apart. So B and D are 8 spaces apart. That's really going to help you on this next activity and on your independent practice today. Please pause the video now and make sure you have answered 1C in the Google form. Please make sure that 1C is entered with no spaces in it. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. When you type in your ordered pair, I'm going to type the incorrect one. You're going to type the correct one. Parentheses, x value, comma, y value, parentheses. No spaces. That is because in your independent practice today, that's how you need to type in your answers. So we're just going to practice in this video. Again, this answer is incorrect. Please type in the answer to question 1C in your Google form. Awesome, we're ready to move on. We are working on the same big skill, but things are getting a little bit spicier. Okay. In order to look at this coordinate grid on your computer in your Google form, you should click on the second link below the video. It says 14.3. You can do that now. Your job in the next few minutes is to label, again, the ordered pair of each of these points. And then question 4 is most like what you'll see on your quiz at the end of this week. You're going to find the distance between each of the following pairs of points. Okay? I'm going to give you 3.5 minutes to do this. You can do it on your paper or you can label electronically. For number 4, I want you to answer those questions definitely on your paper so that you have them to access. Okay? I'm going to put 3.5 minutes on the clock. You can begin now. We are about 30 seconds in. You should be labeling probably about on point C or D. Just under 2 minutes remaining. You should now be working on question 4. Find the distance between each of the following pairs of points. Make sure you record those answers on your paper. All right, folks, there's our time. Take a second to make sure you have double checked for that error we discussed earlier. Remember that your x value on the horizontal axis should come first in your ordered pair. All right, when you feel ready, go ahead and continue listening to this video. I want to review our answers for number 3 first. Okay. All right. My coordinate, let me get my screen correct here. Awesome. My coordinate point, my ordered pair for A was -1 and 5/10, -1.5, 2. My x value is negative, it's to the left of 0, and then the y value is positive, it's above 0, above the origin. B, both x and y are positive, I'm at 3.5, 2. Notice that all of these points fall in between the grid lines. So B falls halfway between 3 and 4, approximately. In your practice in this lesson today, you can assume that if it looks halfway between, it is halfway between. So we can call this 3.5, okay? Because it falls halfway in between 3 and 4 on my number line. B also falls on a +2 for a y value. Okay. Go ahead and check the order of your ordered pair for C. Triple check that you like that order. Remember, x first, y second. All right, here's my ordered pair for C. I have +3.5, -3. D, +3.5, -4.5. Notice how B and C and D all have the same x value. How can you tell that by looking on the graph? What does it look like to have the same x value for multiple points? Yeah, it looks like all these points are stacked up on the same part on that horizontal number line. So they're all in a straight vertical line at 3.5. Pretty cool. Can you tell how far apart C and D are? How far apart are C and D? Yeah, I can tell by thinking about how far away C is and how far away D is from 0. I can tell that the difference between these is 1.5. I can also count the boxes. Here's one whole box and then half of the box, so 1.5. They're 1.5 units apart. Good thinking, team. Here's E, -1.5, -4.5. Both x and y values are negative. Okay, let's talk about number 4. This is like you'll see on your independent practice today, and it's the last question on your Google form. Just listen carefully for how I want you to type in the answer. Number 4, find the distance between each of the following pairs of points. So how far apart are they? Point B and C here. We've already talked about how they have the same x value, so they make a nice vertical line. How far apart are they? They are 5 units apart. You can do that 2 ways. You can look at their coordinates. I'm thinking about B and C, and I know that this one is 2 away from 0, and I know that this one is 3 away from 0, so I can find the sum there, and I know that that's 5 units apart. I can also look at the grid and I can count boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For B, 6.5 units. Notice that half a box is half a unit. And C, 5 units. Point D and E are interesting because they both fall on the halves. If I'm counting boxes, I'm counting here's half, here's one more, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, and then half again is 5 units apart. Awesome. We're going to review our lesson summary, and that is question of the day time. Here we go. This was lesson 14, nutty. I can't believe we're this far in the unit. Time flies when you're having fun. All right, take a look at these points. Before I read this, what do you notice about them? I see 5 and -5, 2 and -2. Are any of these ordered pairs exactly the same? No, if any of these ordered pairs were exactly the same, they wouldn't be in different locations, they'd be in the same location. So let's try and come up with that pattern. The points A, B, C, and D are shown in the plane. Notice that they all have almost the same coordinates, except the signs are different. They're all the same distance from each axis, but in different quadrants. So 5 units from my y-axis and 2 units away from my x-axis. We can always tell, I almost never use the word always, but in this case, it's appropriate. We can always tell which quadrant a point is located in by the signs of its coordinates, okay? If the x value is positive, and if the y value is positive, that ordered pair, that point always falls in quadrant 1. Positive x value, positive y value. If the x value is negative and the y value is positive, that always falls in quadrant 2, negative x, positive y. If the x value is negative, watch my mouse, and the y value is negative, that point always falls in quadrant 3. And if the x value is positive and the y value is negative, that always falls in quadrant 4. Remember, we show 4 with a capital I, capital V. That's 4 in Roman numerals. Okay. Here's your question of the day. How can you tell if a point is located in quadrant 4? How can you tell if a point is located in quadrant 4? Please pause the video now, scroll down, and answer that question of the day. All right, folks, you have your skill builder today, which is identifying the ordered pair of a plotted point. Hopefully today's lesson was really good practice for you. You also have independent practice on assessments today. If you would like any help with it or just want to confirm that you're on the right track and do it with a teacher, Mr. Zamora has office hours today, like every day at 3:15, so join him there, or request to be in reteach tomorrow at 10:45 a.m. Really strong job today. I will see you all here again